for a character profile.
Ah,
So I had to have a little look internally at myself and what was going on. I was like, well, Shazam is literally only like a week away at this point.
true.
It's
I keep
out
forgetting about.
next Friday.
I forgot about that film. I'll be honest.
So I thought, screw it. Let's do a character profile on Captain Marvel Shazam. Apparently, in future comics, he's just going to be referred to as the Captain going forward. We'll get
Oh.
into that afterwards because this is wild. But anyway, this character profile is going to be based on him post 2011 at the start of the New 52. So some things
Right.
may be different from what people already know about the character.
Mm-hmm.
Shazam, aka Billy Batson.
Mm-hmm.
After his parents died when he was at a young age, he bounced around inside the foster care system for a long time. And he was just kind of angry at the world for robbing him of his parents. He wasn't like 3 months old when it happened. He had lived with them, he knew them, he remembered them. So he was a bit more angry at the world for a situation. He caused a lot of trouble. And as a result of that, no family really gave him a real chance. So he just bounced around from home to home to home to home. Eventually, the Vasquez family took him in. And this was a man and a woman, husband and wife, who were both foster kids and met inside the system.
Oh, okay.
Who, once they were together, had got married. They decided they were going to do this thing for people because they know how hard it can be.
Yeah.
And they weren't put off by Billy being difficult because they were like, yeah, we get it. It's valid to be angry at the world. So they took him in and he joined the Vasquez household, where he met his new siblings, Mary, Freddie, Eugene, Pedro, and Darla.
Absolute stacked
Um,
family.
and I mean, they're all good kids. They know how difficult it is being a foster kid, so they're pretty empathetic towards Billy entering the family, but they also know how good it was here, and they wanted Billy to be a sibling like the rest of them already were. However, Billy wasn't too keen on integrating with his new family. He was very standoffish. He didn't have a lot of interest in interacting with them, etc., etc. However, after living with them for a while and obviously going to school with them, one day he had enough of one of the bullies one of his siblings was having to deal with.
Ooh.
So he got in a bit of a scuffle with him, and got his siblings out of the way. And that evening, in an act of revenge, he went round to the bully's house and he stole the bully's dad's car.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and he went on a bit of a joyride.
The GTA.
Yeah, however, just before getting caught, Billy ran away and went into the underground, or the subway, and hopped on a train. And while on this train, the train essentially became a portal to the Rock of Eternity, where
shit,
the
okay.
wizard sits. And it was here where Billy met the wizard. And the wizard was searching for a new champion, and as Billy had been brought to him, he thought he would see if he was worthy. So the wizard searched Billy's soul and saw his misdeeds. He saw the way he treated these people who were trying to be kind to him. He saw how angry he was at the world. And obviously, you don't know at the time in the comics, but it's because he's had to deal with Black Adam, and he's like, oh, not falling for this again.
Yeah.
But when he told Billy this, Billy got kind of pissed off with him. He kind of said to him, he was like, who is truly good, who is purely good, who is without flaw and is so perfect that they could possibly live up to your expectations.
This is true.
And this caused the wizard to have like a quiet moment of contemplation where he realized Billy did kind of have a point. So he decided to look deeper inside Billy's soul. And it was at this point he saw Billy standing up for this new family despite being sketchy of them, all of the good he'd done at different times throughout his life. So he decided that he could trust Billy to be his champion and bestowed him with his powers. And after this, using the word Shazam would transform him into the champion.
Very cool.
It's really cool. It's quite fantasy based, and I mean, people who've seen the Shazam film from a couple of years ago will see that origin story is very similar in the film. I think the main difference is the train when he gets on it. It's after he directly has the fight with the bully. He doesn't go and steal the car first.
Yeah.
So his powers, among other things, are the wisdom of Solomon. the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury. For anyone who's very intelligent, the first letter of them people's names will spell out Shazam. So obviously these powers manifest themselves in different ways. He can obviously fly because he's strong and fast.
Mhm.
He's got exceptional healing, etc., etc. The interesting thing with, I mean, at this point, post 2011, he's only going by Shazam. And as I said recently in the comics, it's been announced the person who's taking over writing is going to change it so that he goes by just the Captain. And
Interesting.
this is really funny. So when you say Captain Marvel, you think of Carol Danvers.
Yep.
But Captain Marvel's been a long-running issue of a name
Mm.
because Captain Marvel was originally Shazam, or I'm not even sure if it was originally around the same time.
Right.
Marvel also had Captain Marvel, who was the
Right.
alien, and obviously Marvel as a DC character was causing problems. And I can't even remember how many lawsuits, but there's been a number of lawsuits over the years trying to work out who can use this fucking name. I don't know if it ever actually got settled. I think eventually DC went, fuck it, you can have it. We'll just go call him Shazam.
Probably.
But as we know, Shazam is supposed to be the magical word he uses to give him his power.
Yeah.
So he wasn't really supposed to say it other than to get his powers. But then recently in the comics, he was like using the word a bit more freely. And people are like, oh, that's dumb. It kind of takes a bit of the magic out of the word that he can make it magical or not magical.
Yeah.
Which the new writer has said as a result of that, he's going to make it so that Shazam goes back to being a no word unless he wants to change his form.
Right.
And he will just go by the Captain.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's interesting, if nothing else.
Yeah. I mean, it's that awkward situation of using the word Marvel when your competitor is called Marvel.
It's one of the ones that I wish the internet was about and I was alive when all of this argument over who could use a name, because I feel like the Twitter discourse over it would have been hilarious. But it just is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for the second film. I enjoyed the first one. But we'll get into that next week when we do our final thoughts on Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
Yes.